So let me say a couple of things about teachers. Beethoven is not a good teacher. He's a great musician. He's just not a good teacher because he didn't have to give anything up. Jesus is not a good teacher. Why? It is right for you and I to live in the world of pleasure, i.e., karma. It is our right. You don't need to sit home and read. As a kid, you need to be on the swings. You need to watch TV. You need to steal. You need to lie. You need to play video games. You need to have friends. And you need to go to school. And you need to be spanked by your parents and given lots of timeouts. That creates personality. It creates identity. It creates attachment. Then you get to be 18. You're a bit more responsible now. You go to school. You take classes you hate. Listen to instructors you despise. And you suffer and you sacrifice for the next 4 to 10 years to get some ridiculous degree. Very helpful. Your skin grows thicker. Your identity becomes stronger. Your personality becomes more layered. You become more attached. You become more arrogant. You get lost in life. Then you look around and you see everyone holding hands. And you covet that. You desire that. So you get married. Or you'll just have a roomie and you'll have a couple of kids. And you will love your companion and you will love your kids. And you will slave away at your job and you will save money to buy them the best of things that life can afford. There is no soul to you. You're just a very healthy, physical animal. You've had the pleasure, you've had the sex, you've had the smoking and the drinking, you've watched movies, you watch porn, you've gone to school, you've got the degrees, you're now married, and you're a parent, and you take care of your parents. That's a rich life. And by the time you're 30, 40, 50, you have conquered 3 worlds. The world of karma, the world of artha, and the world of dharma. You are a self. Now comes the magic. The stuff I just told you, the karma, artha, and dharma, what people usually go through, none of this Jesus went through. And because he didn't have attachments to the world of karma or artha or dharma, he doesn't understand the laws. He doesn't understand how difficult it is to overcome attachments. Every single one of us in this room, we are attached to things. Our kids, our spouses, ourselves, our cars. It takes a lot for us to give anything up. A good teacher lives life initially. And then comes the breaking point. And the breaking point is this. The call. I ran into this man named Hussein. But my story is not interesting. I'm going to tell you a story that's far more interesting than mine, and that's my cousin's. Another guy whose name is Hussein. So we go to Hussein's gathering. Now let me tell you a few things about my mom's cousin. Married, kids, he worked for Pac Bell, making over 150,000, 1980s. That's like a couple $1,000,000 a year. That's how much money was worth way back then. We go to Hussein's gathering. We are sitting, Hussein is talking. It's about 2 in the morning. I had worked at the car wash from 7 in the morning until 6 at night. We go to Hussein's house at 7:30 and it's 2 in the morning. I whisper into Hussein's ears, Hussein, please, let's go home. I'm tired. I need to wake up at 6 in the morning, go to the car wash. Amir, be quiet. And Hussein is 10, 11 years older than I am. I said, okay. I shut my mouth and continue to sit respectfully. It's now 3 o'clock. I said, Hussein, my eyes are burning. Can you please go? 10 minutes. So eventually, thankfully, we get in the car and we're leaving. I said, Hussein, what is wrong with you? I'm exhausted. Can't even drive. He says, I have to tell you something. What is it? While we were listening, I heard a whisper in my right ear. Okay? That whisper told me, follow this man. Don't lose him. Follow him. Now, I was a kid. I didn't understand what the hell he was talking about. It's a nice story. But what I didn't know, from that night on, he went to Hussein's house every single night. And his relationship with Hussein and his relationship with Masnavi, the book that he began to read, was so intense that he began to have strange experiences. A call from nowhere. You have dreams related to someone you have met. It got so intense, he lost contact with his wife. He just didn't want to be around her. And he abandoned his kid. Why? You're now invited to find and have a relationship with yourself. That is what you're looking for now. Now, he may be completely ridiculous, stupid even, but that is the message that he received. The first stage, the call. Now, as an ordinary human being, when you get a call, a revelation of sorts, you want to go back and put that experience within the world of karma. How can I make sense of this? But the world of sex, drugs, drinking, pure entertainment will not give you answers. You put that within the framework of your education. I read The Dark Night of the Soul, written by St. John of the Cross, but that's ink on paper. This is something I experienced with my soul. It makes no sense. He wants to talk about this with his wife, but once you have an experience that's intense, any kind of experience that's intense, how can you put it into language? How can you make sure that you're not being misunderstood? And when you have intense experiences, when you have trauma that lives inside, remember, trauma can be positive, it could be negative. If you run into a Jesus Christ, that's a traumatic experience. Initially, it's going to be painful, negative, but if you stick with him, it'll be positive. Snoop Dogg, it's a great traumatic experience. He's a celebrity. He will plunge you to hell. So the call comes in all these strange ways, and we don't really know what to do with it. I don't know how it happens. I don't know who's worthy of all of a sudden running into someone that inspires them, and they're willing to sacrifice everything that they have, including their own identity, their past, their personality, to follow them. Now, what happens, the next stage is what we call search. When this experience happens to you, it's like you go to Pete's, all of a sudden you look at some person and they are so profoundly attractive to you, and then you say, okay, let me just go get my coffee and then I'll find a way to say hello to them. The moment you turn around, you realize they're gone. And then you forget about your coffee, begin to look around, and you go outside to figure out where this person went, try to follow them. That's the search. A call brings about a good amount of passion, a good amount of desire that turns into want and then need. And whenever you need something, you begin to look for resources, tools that you can use to obtain, to touch, to taste what created this attraction. The search is going to be difficult. Why? Well, look, if I'm attracted to a woman, that desire can be satisfied by going to a woman. If I envy my brother because he's just graduated and I don't have any degrees, I know how to satisfy that desire. I can get myself to school, take some classes, be committed, be disciplined, and after 4 years, I have a degree. If I am lonely and I look out there, and there are people holding hands, I say, that's the way you get yourself out of loneliness. You find yourself a companion. If on the other hand, the sort of questions that I have nothing to do with my body. In other words, I'm not looking to hold hands with anyone. I'm not looking to go to school. I'm not looking to make money. All I know is that there is this yearning, this longing that I have inside, that the physical world has no answers for it. I don't know if any of you in this class have ever suffered from severe depression. You could be sad once in a while. You could be sorrowful once in a while. But it's a storm that passes. But when you get depressed, you turn on the TV, then you break it. You open a book to read, then you trash it. You call your friends, then you disconnect. You turn on the light, you hate what your senses are given. They bring in all this information, you say, nah, I don't like anything that my senses are bringing in. You shut everything down. In fact, everything shuts down automatically. And though it is daylight, you live in darkness. When we talk about spiritual call, it means that there is nothing that the physical world or your physical body can give you that can bring some solace or comfort or rest. And it's not going to be a clean divorce. You can't simply walk away from your spouse. You can't simply walk away from your kids. You can't simply walk away from your education. It doesn't work that way. Like the knight in the rusty armor, what we have inside us, the stories, all the psychological narratives, all the intellectual narratives, they make us who we are. It's very difficult to disconnect from them. So you live 10 hours in psychological darkness where nothing pleases you. You hate everything, but it doesn't end there. Because you say, why is my wife happy? I want to be happy. I want to go and pick up the kids. I want to be good to my wife. I want to have long conversations with my friends. I want to go out with my friends and have some drinks. I want to have fun. And yet the call has made a complete mess of you and your life. There is no place you can go where the call doesn't show its face and begin to ask you big questions. What are you doing here? Why are you laughing at this stupid joke? This class is nonsense. Your life is nonsense. Divorce. Walk away. Now, the call has a tendency of forcing a complete divorce from the world of karma, pleasure, power, and relationships. In other words, what the call will say is kind of like what Jesus says. Sit next to me because I'm fire, and I will burn everything on the inside as well as the outside. You will walk into life, but life has nothing to offer you. Only me. I am Abraham. I am the light. I am the bread. Your dependency will only be on me and me alone. Now imagine you're married. Imagine you have a job. Imagine you have all these responsibilities and obligations. And imagine now you have fallen in love with the person who has inspired the call. How the hell do you go back home and be okay with your companion, be okay with your kids? How do you live with the friction, with the conflict, the yes and the no, the positive and the negative? And the truth is you can't. Now, the struggle. You want to figure out what is happening on the outside, and you also want to figure out why you've become such a jerk to everyone in your life. And people will punish you. Your parents will come to you and say, honey, what the hell are you doing to yourself and to your life? Go out with your kids, have a good time, be good to your companion. Why do you sit in your room and just read? What the hell is wrong with you? And you want to, you just can't. You have lost the ability to find pleasure in life. If that is a little difficult for you to grasp, if you love your mom, for example, or you love a brother or a sister or a companion, or you love your child, and your child dies, where do you go to find comfort? Eventually you'll find it, because that's what time does. Who can give you comfort? Where can you go? You have lost your identity. It's like the onion, all the skin has been removed. And you know what you are now? Nothing. How can anyone survive nothingness? And don't listen to the Buddhists. The goal is to be nothing. Empty your mind. It doesn't work that way. Don't be gullible. Now, the search, I don't know where people go. I mean, if you're wondering why people join cults, it is really out of desperation. The next stage is struggle. It's kind of like some of you unfortunate folks in this room. You're tired. It's been a long day. Maybe you got kids. You want to go home. You've been working all day. You just gotta keep your eyes open. You gotta pretend, and all the stuff takes energy. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle to wake up in the morning when you know there is nothing out there that can nourish you. Remember the story of the salmon fish? You have to go against life. And that is what this journey is all about. Life is there to put you to sleep. The call wakes you up. Life wants to bring you, swallow you back in. There is something about you that says, life can no longer make me. I don't care for life. Now, there is the fourth stage, and I don't really know how it happens or why it happens or who's worthy of it. It's called the breakthrough. The breakthrough is, so once you get the call and you begin to search, you realize that you live in the desert. You live in the desert, and desert becomes symbolic of all those students who are somewhat earnest, sincere, honest about the quest. You have Jesus leaving everything for about 18 years. You have Moses finding himself in the desert for a number of years. You have Muhammad walking into a cave. You have Malcolm X walking away from everything. You have the Buddha walking away from his son, from his wife, from his parents, from his culture, community, and just sitting somewhere and breathing in and out. The desert life. Your friends are scorpions, or rattlesnakes, vultures. The world can't nourish you at all. If you're able, have the capacity to live in the desert, scorching sun, i.e. the inner emptiness for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, if you are lucky, and again, I don't know how this happens, there is the breakthrough. The breakthrough is all of a sudden, in a moment, you begin to understand everything that you have the capacity to understand. It's like you accept. You understand the meaning of your pain, your struggle. You understand the nature of the physical world. You understand how emotions come about. Maybe you get a glimpse, you get a chance to see the face of God, if God has a face, and you have some relatively unusual experiences. Now, there is a problem at this stage. Remember, you were poor and you were hungry. You lived in the desert for all these years. Now you have power, breakthrough. Now you've seen things. Now you've experienced things. Now you're intoxicated. There is a brand new self that's born inside you. I don't know if any of you in this class have seen the movie Experiment. The Experiment, it's actually a real experiment that took place, I think, at Stanford. It's about giving about 20 people about $1,000 each, and all they have to do for a couple weeks is some people will play the character of being prisoners, and some people will play being guards. In the movie, I think his name is Forrest Whitaker, he is the guard. And if you look pay attention at the very beginning of the movie, he's a guy who's got nothing. He's a Bible thumper. He just reads the book, the Bible. He's taking care of his old mom. He's unattractive. He has basically zero life, zero confidence. But something very interesting happens to him as he's pretending to be the guard. He beats someone up, and all of a sudden, he has an erection, power. And all of a sudden, this was only supposed to be an experiment, but for him, he gets drunk because for the first time in his life, he has power. And he takes himself very seriously. And he actually beats people up. He kills one of them. It's only at the end of the movie where he is reminded this was only an experiment. You have a rich world of karma, pleasure. You've had a rich world of artha, education, money, power. You've had a rich academic life. You've had a rich family life. Then you realize they all suck. They create this thing called Maya, illusion. You may be a father, but when you die, you will be forgotten. If you're able to tame this newfound power, if you're able to curb the intoxication of using and abusing power you have, then what happens in the last and final stage is what we call the return. You go back home. And when you go back home, you realize that people live in mostly 3 stages. Some people don't have the capacity to go to school. They just want to have fun in life. The best thing you can do is educate them as to what sort of funds will benefit them long term and what sort of fun will hurt them. If you have the power to inspire them to go to school, to get a job that pays well, more power to you. Now, the return is ultimately the expression of a really, really, really good teacher. Why? He knows the temptations and all the pleasures that come by the physical body. He knows the pleasure that comes with money, with house, with cars, with going to school and having degrees. He knows the pleasure that comes with having a wife or a husband and a family. He or she has also experienced the fact that all of these experiences are completely meaningless. Important, but meaningless for him or her. So a good teacher is seasoned by life. A Mozart can be a good teacher because he'd never experienced attachments. There is nothing to give up. If you read the Jesus story in the Gospels, when he comes back home to Nazareth, he doesn't go to his mother's house. He doesn't go to Mary and say, "Mom, I'm sorry I just left without any notice. It's been about 18 years. Hi, how you doing? Where's Dad, Joseph?" He doesn't say that. He just goes straight to the synagogue and tells the Jews that they suck. So should any of you in this class ever desire to go on a spiritual quest, before you actually take that journey, look at the person who's inspired you. Ask them if they've ever had sex. Ask them if they've ever gone to school, have had money, cars, houses. Ask them if they've ever been married and had kids. Ask them if they've ever experienced having everything for them rendered meaningless. Ask them if they've ever lived a desert life, if they've ever been depressed. If they answer all of your questions with a yes, that's a good teacher.